Touchdown, Colorado! And the Buffaloes find the end zone.
How about that?
Beautiful shot for the Colorado can celebrate.
Here comes Ralphie and your Colorado Buffaloes.
Time she'll take it. Maya's good from out top.
Let me hear you, Buff fans.
She's gonna fire the shot. Goal, Buffaloes.
Holy cow! What a play by Colorado! For 3, they made him pay. And that'll do it right there. You can make it 10 straight over the Oregon Ducks as the Buffaloes knock off the 17th rated Ducks 79-72. The 20th career victory over a ranked opponent by Tad Boyle as the Buffs improved to 8-3.
Playing Oregon's never easy. They got a lot of toughness on their team. They play hard. Everybody in this room understands that because that was a big-time win against a good program, but it's just one. So now we got an opportunity to go on the road at Utah. Come on, okay? And it's time for us. Well, we can learn from this just like we learned from the UCLA. But what I like about this team is you guys bounce back. You got resiliency. You got toughness. And I like how together we play.
I love all you guys, man. You love you too, bro. Hey, family on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Well, a heck of a victory for the Colorado Buffaloes as they return home and knock off the 17th rated team in America. That stretch continues as the Buffs have won 9 straight over the Oregon Ducks here at the Event Center. Hi, everybody. Welcome into the Buffalo Stampede. I'm voice of the Buffs, Mark Johnson. That gave the Buffs an 8-3 record, even their Pac-12 slate up at 2-2. Scott Wilkie, my partner on the radio broadcast. Pretty impressive win by Colorado. And that stretch, by the way, that streak they got going with the Ducks, considering how good the Ducks have been, is awful impressive.
Yeah, Oregon has been picked for most people preseason to win the league, and they have led the league early in the season. They got a guy, Chris Duarte, who some people might think might be the conference player of the year, and he's playing very well. So big win to get a home win against a top-ranked team.
Yeah, without question, the Buffaloes leading into that ball game had been out-rebounded 3 of the last 4 prior to that one. Oregon came in, one of the top 2 or 3 rebounding teams in the Pac-12. Buffs ended up plus 12 in that ball game.
Yeah, they got back to who the Buffs are, I think.
Yeah.
And there was the 3-game stretch there. Although they won a couple of them, they weren't rebounding like we are used to. And they had to do that against Oregon because Oregon is a big, physical, athletic team, and they did a good job.
Buffaloes, by the way, in that contest get 2 double-doubles, one by Evan Batty, one by Deshaun Schwartz. He wasn't done, by the way, doing that. Deshaun has not been shooting the ball all that well. He's had some problems, in particular at the rim, but he continues to rebound well.
Yeah, he's actually among the conference leaders in three-point shooting, but his overall shooting percentage, field goal shooting, is not good. And he's missed a lot of shots, what we call high-percentage shots. And I think that's going to get better. I think it's something that he's going through a bit of a slump on those things. But other than that, he's played very well. And his first double rebounding game of his career.
Yeah, that's right. And ends up being the first of 2 in a row. We'll talk more about that, about the next ball game. But afterward, we heard from some of the participants and the principals as the Buffs knock off the Oregon Ducks here in Boulder.
Yeah, look, it's a quality win over a quality program. And, we rebounded the ball well, and I thought we competed. We didn't handle the press in the pressure that came late that we knew was going to come. Oregon presses you the whole game, and I thought we handled it really well for the first 35 minutes. But down the stretch, we got to be better. Look, we missed a lot of good looks in the first half. I thought both teams were a little sluggish in that first half, to be honest with you. But when you don't shoot the ball well, and you still can figure out a way to win a game against a quality opponent, that says a lot about your team.
Our identity, we based ourselves off defense and rebounding. At Arizona, we struggled in that area. At UCLA, we also struggled in that area. So it was important for us to come in and get stops. We still got room for improvement. One thing we try to hang our hat on is no layups and make our opponents finish with tough twos. And in the first half, Coach told us at halftime that they had 7 layups. 14 of their 21 were in the paint.
The team did an unbelievable job. Gerard took a huge challenge on guarding their best player and really sat down and really came out big for us. So, all credits to my teammates because they're unbelievable guys and unbelievable teammates. So, I love them to death, and they deserve it. They deserve all the credit.
Post-game comments from head coach Tad Boyle, McKinley Wright, and Evan Batty. McKinley was huge in that ballgame versus Oregon.
Yeah, statistically off the charts, double-double from rebounds, which I always make an emphasis of when it's a six-foot guard getting that. And probably one of the better games of his career against a top-ranked team.
Yeah. You were talking about Chris Duarte. Some think he could be the player of the year. I think De Silva from Stanford going to be in that conversation. As this year's rolling on, you better watch out for McKinley Wright. He's making a strong case for player of the year in the Pac-12.
Yeah, and sometimes, the people that vote for those things are swayed by the team record.
Right.
So if Colorado continues to play well, that can do well for McKinley as well.
Yeah. How about Jabari Walker? He continues to impress. That freshman class, awful impressive overall, but Jabari Walker continues to me, look like he's growing very quickly. He's kind of rolling around that learning curve rather fast.
Well, he's a very athletic guy for 6'8", which we talk a lot about, but he's just got a knack out there, Mark. He scores in a lot of different ways. He can shoot the three. He can kind of do Euro steps. He can get offensive putbacks. He's one of those guys that puts the ball in the basket in a lot of ways. So when he's on the court more, he's going to put up some numbers.
Winning streaks are always fascinating to me. I mentioned Colorado's beaten Oregon 9 times in a row here at the Event Center. That's hard to fathom considering you've got a Final Four in there during that span for the Oregon Ducks, and they still couldn't win here at the Event Center.
Yeah, and you look at those 9 years, Oregon's been very good throughout that stretch of games. So to have a run like that against a team that consistently is in the top 25, has first-round draft picks on their roster, that's a heck of a stat.
Is this the most impressive win by Colorado this season?
It definitely is the easiest, the best win for Colorado this year.
Yeah, the Buffs did go on the road and beat a USC team. That was awful impressive. USC continues to impress, but Colorado knocks off by 7 the Oregon Ducks to win 9 straight over the Ducks here in Boulder. By the way, another record. This one didn't continue. It fell in the Buffs' next game. They were at Utah. We'll talk about it next year in the Stampede. Top of the key, crosses over, drives down the lane, hook pass off, Jeriah Horn, layup is up and good. There is number 4, and he ties the 37-year-old record of Jay Humphries with 562 career assists. Well, the Buffs are on the road. He didn't set the record away from home, but he tied that 37-year-old record with Jay Humphries, 562 career assists. He was waiting to come home for the next ball game to set the record. Back at the Stampede, voice of the Buffs, Mark Johnson, along with Scott Wilkie. McKinley Wright didn't put the huge numbers up, but he got 4 assists to tie that record, and awful impressive for a 6-foot guard.
Yeah, and the guy record he just tied is going to break probably on Thursday is a legend here at CU. Jay Humphries. So a lot of credit to McKinley for breaking that record, and give some credit to the teammates because those are the guys that made the shots, right?
Yeah. He had a chance, by the way, to get number 5 and set the record. Had a couple of wide-open threes to Maddox Daniels. Had an alley-oop to Jabari Walker. Just couldn't get it to go down. So he'll do it here at home. Now, here's the problem with that. It's nice to do it in your home court, but it's not like there are going to be 11,000 people here in the building. Tad told us in the postgame, he said, yeah, we probably would have under normal circumstances. Stopped, had a little ceremony, give him the ball. So you do kind of take that away from McKinley when he does set that record here.
Yeah, but you mentioned when we were talking about it in the game, it's really nice to do it in your home court. It would be nicer if the crowd was here, but McKinley's a guy that really is all about winning, not into all the individual accolades, so he'll be fine with it anyway.
By the time he leaves here, he's going to be one of the great Buffs of all time, and we've talked about it here on the show before. He's on pace to go 1,600 points, 600 rebounds, 600 assists, the first player in the history of Pac-10/Pac-12 to ever put up those numbers.
Yeah, it's mind-boggling, really. I was a big guy. I didn't get close to 600 rebounds. He's about
ready to surpass you, by the way.
He's about to pass me in that category. And one of the things I'll bring up, Mark, is one of the best things about good players is their availability.
Yeah.
Being able to ready to play and avoiding injury and those kinds of things.
Yeah. He's going to knock Scott, by the way, out of the top 25. So he continues just to drop into the despair of irrelevancy here at the University of Colorado. Coming up next, we'll talk more about that ball game as the Buffs get an impressive second half comeback victory. But we heard from some of the players and coaches after the ball game.
I asked the team one question in the locker room, and it's pretty simple. I was like, where was that second half team in the first half in terms of our energy level and toughness and aggressiveness on defense? And not that we played perfect, but we just played the first half. We just didn't have any energy.
Yeah, we couldn't buy a basket. It's crazy. But we weren't getting stops on the other end, and that's why they were up 10. So we just made it a point to lock in on defense and come out with crazy energy. We were just talking right away. It showed.
It was simple. We just needed to pick our defensive intensity up In the first half, we missed a lot of layups, and we let that affect the way we played on the defensive end. So, coach came in at halftime and got on us, and we responded to his message. First off, I just want to give all my respect to Jay Humphries with the record he held here for so long. I think it was something like 27 years or something like that. It's been a very long time, and just a lot of respect to him. But yeah, I joked with coach and told him that I wanted to break the record at home. So I keep the game ball. My dad really wanted it, so.
Heck of a win by the Colorado Buffaloes as they win by 7, snapping, by the way, an 8-game losing streak in Salt Lake City. Impressive win. Scott, they were down by 10 at the half. It didn't look good at the break for the Buffaloes.
Yeah, they didn't have the energy they needed in the first half. The defense, especially in the second 10 minutes of that second half, they let Utah get out to that lead. But they came out a different team in the second half. Would have been interesting to be a fly on the wall in there in the locker room at halftime.
Yeah, I like Tad's comments after it. He said, I asked the guys after the win, where was that second half team in the first half? He said it looked like we were running in mud out there at different times. We said this in the previous segment about Deshaun Schwartz, 2 consecutive double-doubles, 15 points, a career-high 15 rebounds. He was very impressive and instrumental in that second half.
Yeah, kind of trudged through some missed bunnies, as we call them, in the first half, but stayed focused. And, if he can rebound like that, we can be a dominant rebounding team against any team.
He's a big guy, 6'8", 230 pounds. He's got that opportunity. But Jabari Walker was really impressive in this one. He had 15 points, 10 rebounds in 16 minutes of action. Talk about efficiency.
Yeah, and it's not just tonight, although that's impressive today. He's done that on a consistent basis this year. Hasn't gotten a lot of minutes, and he's still averaging 6 or 7 points a game. So he's a guy that puts numbers on the board in a hurry.
Buffs went plus 18 rebounding in this contest. They had 15 offensive rebounds. They got to the foul line 24 times. And although it was the number 1 free throw shooting team in America, they didn't hit 86%, but still 75%. Those were huge numbers out in the second half.
Yeah, and considering Utah struggled in that same area, 2 out of 11 for them, which really hurt them. But to beat a team like Utah, which Kristoviak prides himself on having a program too that's tough, rebounding type team, we dominated them in that category.
I thought their defense, the Buffs' defense in the second half, it wasn't spectacular, but it was so far superior to what they did in the first half. And I thought they made things very difficult in Utah in the second period.
Yeah, they really, Utah did a good job executing, and part of that was our lack of energy. But in the second half, they struggled to get good looks.
Well, the Buffaloes are back home with a Thursday 12 noon game versus Cal, but they get a 7-point win over the Utes, improved to 9-3 in the season, continue to play well on the road. They're 6-3 away from the Event Center, but they got, 6 of 8 coming up at home?
6 out of 8 at home.
6 at 8 coming up at home. They really got a chance to put themselves in the driver's seat in the Pac-12 as they get the victory at Utah for the first time since 2012. Coming up next, we're talking women's basketball as the Buffs are on the road in L.A. against the Trojans. Oh, the Buffaloes had a chance to tie the ball game on a missed layup there, and then a near steal by Jalen Sherrod. They couldn't come up with a basketball, and they end up falling on the road in Los Angeles. That was a game that was supposed to be on Sunday and then got postponed and moved to a Monday midday game. Back at the Buffalo Stampede, on Voice of the Buffs, Mark Johnson. So the Buffaloes have a sub-500 record now in the season as they get a near victory on the road against the USC Trojans. In this one, they dropped down early in this contest. We're down by as many as 12 in the game. Cut the deficit down to 2 in the final quarter, ultimately falling 56-52 at the Galen Center. Junior Peanut Tuatele and senior Maya Hollingshed led the Buffs' comeback efforts. Tuatele went 6 of 9 for the floor, finishing up with a season-high 15 points. Maya Hollingshed recorded her 5th double-double this season, having a great senior campaign, totaling 14 points and 10 rebounds. Junior transfer Tiana Jones led the Buffs off the bench, going 2 of 3 from three-point range and her way to 8 points. Free throws, though, continue to be a problem for the Buffaloes. They stymied the Buffs in this one. The Buffs missed 10 free throws in the day, closing the contest 9 of 19 from the foul line. Those kind of numbers are going to hurt you in a contest. The loss drops the Buffaloes to 4-6 in the season, 2-5 in Pac-12 conference play. USC improves to 5-5 overall and 3-5 in the Pac-12. And afterward, we heard from the coaches and players after the Buffs fall in a close one at the Galen Center.
Well, I mean, we just waited too long to really get out there and compete, the way we need to beat a Pac-12 team on the road. So I thought we played a great second half, or maybe even halfway through the third quarter. We really dialed it up and did a great job, but you can't wait. You can't come out flat, and you can't wait, to really get out and compete until the end of the game.
And it is disappointing losing a close game because it comes down to free throws and layups. So we're going to work on that as soon as we get back in Boulder because we are capable of beating anyone in the Pac-12. It's just we need to clean up our free throw percentages and finishing at the rim.
Yeah, really just trying to turn up the aggressiveness defensively. You know, we created some offense with our defense, and unfortunately we sort of ran out of time, although we had a really great look in the last 30 seconds or so that would have tied the game. But we were just trying to focus on turning up the intensity defensively and, you know, sort of focusing on one possession at a time.
Well, there's J.R. Payne and some of the players after the Buffs drop a 56-52 game on the road at the Galen Center versus USC. Up next, they've got the Bay Area schools coming to town. The Buffs will take on Cal on Friday, and then on Sunday they take on the #1 rated team in college women's basketball, the Stanford Cardinal. Coming up next here in the Stampede, believe it or not, we're talking other sports besides football, men's and women's basketball. We're talking volleyball as the Buffs volleyballers will start here shortly. That comes your way next on the Buffalo Stampede. Welcome back to the Buffalo Stampede on Voice of the Buffs, Mark Johnson. As you can see behind me, there's some activity going on. Finally, we've got all of the teams here at the University of Colorado getting out of the playing surface, getting out of the practice court. It's been football, men's and women's basketball. Now we've got soccer and tennis and golf. And look who's here. It's head coach Jesse Mahoney from the women's volleyball team here at the University of Colorado. Is it a sigh of relief? Is it, well, thank goodness it's finally here? Where are you guys at right now?
You know, we're just excited to be on the court.
I bet.
Playing. It's been a long time since we've competed against anybody,
right.
Obviously. And, you know, with the state of affairs everywhere, we're just happy to be healthy and getting to practice and looking forward to getting to play.
You know, it's been interesting talking with all the various coaches as they've had to go through this whole thing. I mean, you know, we've all done it throughout society. But how's this been for you as a coach of a sport that you can't coach? I mean, how have you kind of navigated that?
Yeah, you know, the interesting thing is you're so used to wanting to control everything, and now you can't control anything, right? So you have to learn how to be flexible and have your kids learn how to be flexible. And we've been rolling with the punches, and, you know, we're happy to be in the place that we're at, and we're ready to go.
I've joked with coaches before. Obviously, you got to be part John Wooden and part Dr. Phil. This has been a period where you've just been Dr. Phil. You're trying to guide your athletes through it, make sure they're going to class. It's been tough on everybody, so you've had to kind of, you know, father them through a little bit, I would think.
Absolutely, and not just me. I mean, our entire staff,
sure.
You know, the entire athletic department, I think, has really rallied together and made sure that our student athletes are taken care of. They're rallying around each other and making sure they're taken care of. And, I mean, it's, you know, for everybody, it's been a long road, but I think we're in a pretty good place now.
I would think when you finally get them together, like some of the stuff we're seeing back here, it's kind of like Christmas morning for them. I bet they're just giddy.
Yeah, you know, we spent so much of the fall in small groups, and then the first time we all got to be together in one group, it was like you said, Christmas morning. Everyone's jumping around and giggling and excited, and kind of the same way when we came back from break, right? So when we get the opportunity to actually get on the floor and see an opponent, I think that'll be pretty exciting for everybody.
Well, it's great stuff for the Colorado volleyball program. In fact, we were there when they jumped on the practice court.
Today obviously felt great. It was our first practice out of the two today, and our bodies are fresh and ready to go, and we saw that on the court today. It was pretty nice.
Now that we're back in it, we're getting tested. Everybody's doing exactly what they need to do, and I think everybody's really excited. There's a really good energy in every drill, no matter how small. We are so excited to play together. Whenever we play together, it just feels, it's just a little taste of what used to be a little more normal. So we're really excited.
Hope and the chance to play is kind of getting us through it, and us being able to practice and lift and be together as a team, that's been a huge help with the uncertainty part of it.
You hear about other sports that are playing, and you know they have to cancel some games due to COVID or uncertainty, so we just don't think about that. We're trying to stay positive, and we're doing what we can in order to ensure we have a successful season.
It's great to see the volleyball team out there as we continue with Jesse Mahoney, the head coach of the Buffaloes. Kind of remind us, it's been so long, remind us what your team's going to look like here in 2021.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be an exciting year. Last year we were really young. We had 9 new players. This year we have 2 new players, so that's been nice. We don't have as as much to kind of catch everybody up on,
Right.
I guess I should say. But, Jenna Ewert's back setting for us. We have Brendan DeLuzio, who's back from a redshirt year. We have Megan Hart back in the middle, Sterling Parker. I mean, we have a lot of really good players and a lot of players that are now finally here for their second and third and fourth year. And so we've got a lot of talent. We're looking forward to getting on the floor.
Now, Jesse, I would think as well, those two newcomers, you kind of glossed over that. Those are pretty highly regarded young women you brought in.
Yeah, I mean, we're really lucky here to be able to recruit high-level players, and the two, Morgan and Maya, the freshmen this year, both really integrating themselves. I think they're going to be fantastic players this year and in the future as well.
All right, this weekend, by the way, the Buffaloes are in action. You got a scrimmage coming up this weekend. Talk about what you're looking for there.
Yeah, I mean, we just haven't played anybody besides ourselves in 10 months. So if nothing else, it'll be good to see somebody on the other side of the floor or other side of the net. For us, we're treating it as a practice more than anything else. An opportunity for our game management and all that kind of stuff to understand what a match is like in COVID times. And then we're going to get everybody on the floor. We have 16 players on our roster. We're going to give them an opportunity to play. Denver's a fantastic team, tournament team for the last 4 or 5 years. They return almost everybody. They're going to be a great team in their league and nationally as well. So it'll be a good test for us.
You got a schedule that hasn't been ultimately released yet, so really can't talk about that. But you feel good about the way that you've been able to put things together?
Yeah, I mean, the Pac-12 has made the decision to only play Pac-12 matches, essentially, and we'll play everybody twice, is the hope at least. It's an interesting schedule because it's a little bit different. It tries to minimize flights. We play people 2 times at the same location. Okay. But maybe I've said too much. I don't know. They keep telling us not to talk about the schedule just yet. But we're going to play Pac-12 teams. I can tell you that much.
Well, fantastic. I look forward to the next time we can have you. We can actually talk about a match. How's that sound?
Absolutely.
All right, great to have him back. Volleyball just around the corner. Jesse Mahoney. We put a wrap on this week's show. I'm Voice of the Bus, Mark Johnson. Thanks for joining us. We'll talk to you next time.